Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hoggcast. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. The weather's holding up. It looks sunny outside. Probably a bit cold, but sunny. What do we have for you on today's episode? We have for you another clip from Canada, so you know it's going to be a bizarro world. And that's not me slagging off anyone from Canada. I love Canada. I often thought anyone who knows my political opinions, which if you watch my videos regularly, you do. I've always thought Canada and Australia would have been the last places left where Western culture would thrive. I thought those countries would be the refuge for us. Yeah, you understand what I mean? But of course, the globalists are always one step ahead, of course. So they've targeted these two countries and they've both become as a parodies. Our countries are parodies too. But Canada and Australia seem to take the biscuit, and New Zealand to a lesser extent. This is Canada. This man here, he served his country. He went to fight in two wars, overseas wars. He is a veteran, a Canadian veteran, and he has been denied access. He's been denied a table in a restaurant because he doesn't have a poke, because they were having poke mandates, as you're aware. Poke passports or domestic passports. Do you know that's what they called it in the former Soviet Union? The Soviet bloc countries, you actually had to have a domestic passport. That's what it was called. And if you refused to have it, or if you didn't have it, or even sometimes if you did have your domestic passport, but the KGB agents and whatnot just didn't like the look of you, they would cart you off to a re-education camp. The worst one being, and I recommend you look this up if you like documentaries, watch a documentary about Cannibal Island. Cannibal Island. That's what socialism leads to. So he gets turned away by people who couldn't give a damn about this man, about the sacrifices he's made for the country, because we live in a Western society now where sacrificing for your country is seen as bad. Just patriotism is seen as bad. This doesn't lead to a good ending. I'm sure you know that. I certainly do. It's going to lead to some bad things, and we, of course, are trying to prevent those things. But monologue over. Let's get into this clip. We'll see what happens here. We'll jump into that now. If you haven't yet, though, please like the video, subscribe to the Hoggcast, hit the notification bell, and share the video around. That helps us stay competitive, hopefully, because we are shadow banned and reduced. We are conservative commentators. We are the underdog. We also have a membership scheme which you can join. I have 8 amazing members, and they each humble and honour me that they support the Hoggcast, as they do. Because I do this for you, not for me.
Just use that information anyway.
What?
I don't just want that information.
Yeah, no, I just can't take your without having it though.
Like the invitation?
Because you're vaccinated, you're sitting around.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's choose on board that can't sit in the restaurant on Remembrance Day and eat a meal.
So he's wearing a mask to try and be considerate. We're told that these work, remember. It's quite mumbly, but basically he's saying that he's a 2-time war veteran. As if they care. They're millennials. They've grown up on a diet of hate the military, hate the West, hate Canada. But don't you think it's bizarre? Really, what is it in aid of? You can't say that there are innocent reasons behind having a podium where you have to produce your domestic passport to prove that you're allowed to eat food. Why do I need to show you that to eat food? These businesses, bearing in mind a lot of them have been hit hard by COVID, if their response is to now buckle, and to some extent I could understand them doing it because they're probably just trying to stay open, so they just comply, hoping that they won't be crushed further. That of course never happens, you always get crushed further. But people should just stop go into these restaurants.
It's not our rules.
Can you see that? No. Let me see that. Let's talk about rules. Let's look at this restaurant for a fucking minute. A 2-time war vet can't come into this restaurant and have a meal. Sorry, I'm unvaccinated. I'm a 2-time war vet, can't sit down in this restaurant and eat a meal with these people that are basically sitting on top of each other.
Right, exactly. And at the end of the day, if you're... all of those people to be in that restaurant have to be vaccinated, yeah? They have to be poked. They have to have their mark of the beast, their domestic passport, as they called it in Soviet countries. If your poke works and you're sitting on top of each other, putting your hands on the table where they've put their hands and someone else puts their hands, and then you wipe your face or pick your nose or whatever. If your if your poke works, why do you need me to get one? Yours works. So why? It's simple logic that seems to be devoid in society today. Yeah. Simple foresight, simple reasoning, simple deduction, pattern recognition. All things that are marks of true intelligence. Having a PhD in gender studies is not a mark of intelligence, believe me. But nobody in society seems to be able to do that simple conclusion. If yours works and it protects you, why do I need it?
Having a great meal. Enjoy yourself, sir.
So he's saying, enjoy yourself, sir, have a great meal to these people. Sure, there might be some people in there who are sympathetic, but the majority of them, we've seen this before, I've done videos before, the majority of them would have been conditioned to be actively hostile to him for a variety of reasons. But the main one being, like everything with the left, they have weaponized everything. And like that, they have weaponized getting a poke or not. I've had pokes in my life, measles, TB. I had many. I've no problem with it. I just don't want this one because I don't need it. Because I'll tell you what I need a poke for: mainstream media, fear-mongering, and BS. Is it real, the coof? Of course it is. Is it being over-egged for political reasons and weaponized? You bet.
What a nice Remembrance Day is. This really represents a really great thing.
And that's the thing, it's Remembrance Day. He's trying to eat in a restaurant. Weaponized politics is supreme. It beats that. It beats everything because that's more important. Everything these days is become so hyper polarized by the left, because that's what the left do. They polarize everything. They weaponize everything. That it's become so hyper polarized that there's no grey areas anymore. There's no leeway. There's no discretion. Everything's all either you're with us or against us. Everything's all you're either poked or not. You're either woke or not. Yeah? This is what happens when you have to vote blue no matter who type people dictating public discourse.
A 2-time war vet can't sit down in the Irving and have a meal. I mean, I was refused service at your restaurant for not giving my private medical information.
You don't need your medical. You just need a piece of government ID and a proof of your vaccination.
That would be...
In other words, a domestic passport, your name, your identification, so they know absolutely everything about you. Which is exactly what... He just said his personal information. And she said, we don't need your personal information. We just need your identity, your name, and your poke card, your domestic passport. This is what I mean. It's cognitive dissonance. It rules supreme. An entire society have been conditioned into being complete idiots, and that's across the Western Hemisphere. Western Hemisphere countries have stopped wanting to live. I mean, the average people want to go on. The average people want to go into the future. But our politicians have decided that the West has to take the fall. And so long as they get paid, so long as they get rewarded, which you've seen yourself when they leave politics, they suddenly come into millions upon millions. In Tony Blair's case, hundreds of millions of pounds. Why is he getting so much money? What was he rewarded for? We see this time and time again. The CEO of Smartmatic was given a plum job by Joe Biden, the most popular president in all of human history. Why was he given a plum job? I thought he's supposed to be impartial. Why would you reward? Why would you do something so brazen? Because they don't care. We've reached a point now where they know that we know what they're doing. We're reaching the end stages of the feigned ignorance. You know when they feign ignorance? First it was trying to shut us down, then it was laughing at us, then it was feigning ignorance, and finally now we're starting to just get into the era of everyone knows what's happening, but organised resistance is non-existent. Okay? For example, I'm a student of history. During Alexander the Great's campaign to destroy and overtake the Persian Empire, they reached a point where the Persian Empire was still in existence. This is after the two really big battles. The one was at Issus, the Battle of Issus, and then there was another big battle. And then after that, there was minor skirmishes, and then there was one last act of organised resistance to Alexander, which happened in a mountain pass. Alexander won the engagement after he bribed some local, Bedouin type people to show him a route around the Persian position. He got around them and defeated them. At that point, the Persian Empire still existed. Darius the Great was still alive. He hadn't been killed by Bessus yet. But organised resistance was no more. This is what it's like in the West. Our countries exist still, but organised resistance to wokeism and radicalism no longer exists. And history repeats itself.
My medical information. I would be providing you with my medical. I can provide you with my war medals where I fought and watched.
I can provide you with my war medals. He's trying. I understand what he's doing, and I'm not criticising him harshly, but times have changed. Fighting for your country isn't considered heroic anymore. What's considered heroic today is putting your pronouns in your Twitter bio and things like that, wearing a pussy hat, or raising the black hand, the black fist, the black power sign. That's considered noble. Fighting for your country isn't.
My friends get ripped into shreds so that you guys can refuse me a meal on Remembrance Day.
We're not refusing a meal.
You are refusing him a meal.
Have rules that we have to follow.
Really? And you
Rules that we have to follow. Yeah, the Auschwitz camp guards said exactly the same thing. Oh, we're just following rules, we're just doing it. Remember what I said, there's no organised resistance left. It's just, we're barreling along to the new normal. We're going to build back better along the way, and at the end of it, you will own nothing, but you'll be happy.
I know, but you choose following rules over doing what you know is right in your heart.
I'm not saying any of that, but
You don't have to. I can feel it. There you have
And
it.
that. Obviously, he's uploaded this. It's obviously affected him badly, because it should do. Deep down, I can read people. I know what he's thinking. He's upset that the people didn't take his side, and quite rightly. He's probably spent a long time being praised, quite rightly, for his service. But suddenly things took a change. Over the last few years, things took a change. She's already forgotten about it. She couldn't care less. She could not care less. But it's obviously deeply affected him. You can tell by the look on his face, disappointment, trying to keep a brave face on it. But you could tell with, and this is the end of the clip, you could tell with a lot of things that he said, he was trying to reach her human side. But it's gone. It's been replaced with comply or else. It's been replaced with resistance is futile. So, to use the Alexander the Great analogy, again, Darius the Great is still alive. The Persian Empire still exists. But it's not long until it falls. I don't know how I feel. It's hard to describe how I feel about things now. I'm angry. I'm disappointed. I feel hopeless sometimes. Other times I don't, but sometimes I do. I feel concerned. I'm worried. I'm anxious. Not for me, but for you. For my people. Whether they're in Britain or Canada or America or Australia. We're one. We share so many communal and cultural heritages and similarities. We will be the only... I'll end with this. We will be the only civilization in history, the greatest civilization, by the way, Western civilization. We'll be the only one to be vanquished without even fighting for it. Without even standing up for it. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.